Welcome back to the main channel. Eventually I gotta come up with a name for this channel other than my name, but we're closing out 2020 because we had some days off to do it. We're trying to get as much content out as we can. We're doing this video and then we're opening or debuting a new segment. I think this might be the thing that I do. We'll get to it. So what we're doing here is on the main channel, we're doing another in the series of good cover songs, and today we're talking about David Bowie's Heroes. The interesting thing about this song and about the various cover versions of this song is that I'm reminded of the idea that the farther one gets away from an event, the perspective of the event changes. And shout out to Tony Perry and Ryan Owens for reminding me or giving me the idea of covering this one. And I'll go ahead and talk about for a little bit what kind of inspired me to do this video and link it to the video right after this one because they're in the same space. So Tony was talking about how today in 2020 we're as far away from the Wallflowers version of Heroes being released as the Wallflowers were from Bowie's version of Heroes being released. And what's so fascinating to me about that is that, and this links to the next video, the Wallflowers cover of this song, it doesn't do what great cover songs do, which is supplant the original, which is become the definitive version of a particular song. People love Leonard Cohen's version of Hallelujah, but more people look at Jeff Buckley's cover as being the definitive version. Jacob Dylan's version, Jacob Dylan and Wallflowers version, doesn't do that. What it does sonically is a few interesting things that I enjoy, and it does a parallel thing to the Prince and Shaka Khan thing, which I'll go ahead and talk about. So, much like Prince's version of I Feel For You, David Bowie's version of Heroes is very stripped down. It is very deliberate. It's kind of bare bones, but the guitar work is exceptional. Eno's a great producer on it, and it's a great song overall. But it's a deep cut in his catalog. What the Wallflowers end up doing is they make the song theirs in the sense of they really, it sounds like everything else they did. It's kind of a pseudo country, very twangy, but there's a lot of space in the song. So it's the vocals in that song aren't drowned out by this wall of sound, which I'm going to get to in a second. The bass is kind of understated, but it drives the beat of the song. The guitar work is stellar and is kind of the signature of the song and gives a good backing bass for Jacob to go on. Now you can contrast that by Oasis's cover of Heroes, which actually was very good. It's just like everything else on Be Here Now, which is their cover of Heroes is the flip side to Do You Know What I Mean, which was one of, I think, the two big singles off Be Here Now by Oasis. And it's got a lot of swagger to it. It's a big wall of sound. There are a lot of little understated things that Liam Gallagher is doing on guitar in that song. And just the arrangement of it is very good. It's not as iconic because I don't think as many people realize that the Oasis covered that song. It shouldn't have been surprising given that Bowie's one of their influences, but along with, them shamelessly ripping off the Beatles, but I digress. But what's interesting about those two takes of this song is that Oasis's version is just filled with the swagger of them being Oasis and them approaching it from the idea of we're covering a historical British song and it fits kind of our branding and fits what we do. And Oasis's cover, like I say, is very wall of sound, very, big band. Jacob Dylan's cover in the Wallflowers is very, very understated, very in their vein. And it links to the next video in the sense that they did exactly what they wanted to do with it. The interesting thing about when they did it is they did it in a time where a lot more people who were in the music were much more cognizant of where the original was, going out and getting the record. And this is also in a period where Bowie was still kind of out and about. He was still making records. This is 96. I think I'm Afraid of Americans was also out at the time. So he was back kind of in the public, in the limelight, in the public consciousness. And we were like, oh yeah, that was a big deal. And people just got reminded of it. Now, even though we have access to more information, and you can hear someone's version of a song and find the original easier, I don't think that's necessarily true. But I want to get to the story behind the song, which I think is very interesting and explains a lot of Bowie's emotion and context of where he came to the song. So the song tells the story of a German couple, this is according to Song Facts, who were so determined to be together that they meet every day under a gun turret on the Berlin Wall. Bowie, who was living in Berlin at the time, was inspired by an affair between his producer, Tony Visconti, and a backup singer, Antonia Maas, who would kiss by the wall in front of Bowie as he looked out of the Hansa studio window. Now, he didn't even mention Visconti's role in the song until like 2003. He did an interview in Performing Songwriter magazine, and he talked about it, and the reason he didn't mention it was because Tony was married at the time. Quote, Tony was married at the time, and I could never say who it was, laughs. But now I can say that the lovers were Tony and a German girl he'd met whilst we were in Berlin. I did ask his permission if I could say that. I think that possibly the marriage was in the last few months, and it was very touching because I could see that Tony was very much in love with this girl, and it was that relationship which sort of motivated the song, unquote. What's interesting about that is, from a perspective of the song and the story influencing the emotion of the song, because it has this. It's why it was also used in the Godzilla film, that we're backs against the wall, it's us against the world. There's no way out but this, and that's kind of but yeah, we might lose. We might really lose, and that's the sentiment, the emotion that feels that Bowie's doing in the song. Jakob Dylan doesn't put off that same feeling, but he doesn't know the story. Liam Gallagher and Oasis definitely don't put off that feeling, but the story is, like I say, a largely unknown story. But the reason I want to link that to the following video on this channel, which starts the new segment of I Was Wrong About, is because people talk about how the Wallflowers cover of this song like I said, lacks the emotion of the original because they don't know the story, but just they take this song and they put it in their wheelhouse and it sounds like them, and that's not a bad thing, but it's like McDonald's. We're making the burger this way, we're making it fast, and we're making it a thing. So that leads into the next song that I'm about to talk about in the next video, because I was wrong about it, because there's an artist that I've previously done a video in this same series, in the cover song series, that does a very similar thing to a very also iconic song. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I was wrong about it. That's my tease. I was wrong, and if people that know me, people watch this video, like, no, it's not that I don't admit that I'm wrong. It's that I don't change my mind. When I make a decision or have an opinion about something, very rarely do I change my mind. I need evidence. I need a good argument. I got a good argument. So that's it for this video. Dropping it here in a few minutes. Let me know what you think about it, and feel free to suggest new cover songs to do. I gotta go down the list. All right, thanks. Bye.